Nobody saw it coming. The woman who built her brand on being fearless, fiery, and unapologetically bold, is now fighting for her life. Chrissy Lampkin's leukemia battle was a secret buried deep, until Mama Jones blew the lid off it all. What she revealed has shocked fans, fractured the family, and changed everything we thought we knew about Chrissy forever. The news hit like a thunderclap. In a world where reality TV often blurs the lines between entertainment and real life, some stories strike deeper than gossip. They cut straight to the heart. When rumors began to swirl that Chrissy Lampkin, the fierce and fabulous star of love and hip-hop, was battling leukemia, fans were in disbelief. How could someone so vibrant, so full of fire, be facing something so life-threatening? The truth was hidden, carefully guarded behind the scenes. But now, Mama Jones, Jim Jones' outspoken and often controversial mother, has come forward to reveal everything, and the truth is more heartbreaking than anyone imagined. It all started quietly, almost invisibly. Close friends noticed Chrissy withdrawing from the public eye, turning down appearances, skipping family gatherings, and even missing major love and hip-hop events. She claimed it was exhaustion, burnout, just the pressure of the industry getting to her. But Mama Jones knew better. She sensed something deeper, something darker. Chrissy ain't never been the type to run from the spotlight, Mama Jones said in an emotional video that surfaced on social media. So when she started disappearing, I knew something was wrong. The drama between Chrissy and Mama Jones is legendary: explosive fights, bitter confrontations, and years of tension. But at this moment, that feud was put aside. What Mama Jones revealed wasn't just tea, it was a cry for understanding. She didn't want nobody to know. Not even Jimmy. But I saw the fear in her eyes, she confessed, her voice trembling. I asked her straight, "What's going on, girl?" And that's when she broke down. According to Mama Jones, Chrissy had been experiencing strange symptoms for months: chronic fatigue, unexplained bruising, night sweats, and sudden weight loss. She brushed it off, blaming stress. But a visit to a specialist changed everything. The diagnosis? Leukemia, a type of blood cancer that could turn deadly if left untreated. She tried to be strong, Mama Jones said, fighting back tears. But that kind of news breaks even the strongest soul. Behind closed doors, Chrissy was fighting a war most of her fans knew nothing about. She began chemotherapy in silence, choosing to keep her health battle private, even from those closest to her. Jim Jones, unaware of the full extent, believed she was just dealing with anxiety. But Mama Jones, ever the watchful eye, knew better. I know that girl, she said. I might not always like her, but I love her. And I could see she was fading. The secrecy began to crack as Chrissy's absence grew louder than her presence. Fans flooded social media, asking where she was, why she wasn't posting, and why Jim looked so distant lately. The speculation was wild: cheating rumors, marriage troubles, career burnout. But no one guessed the truth. Until now, Mama Jones decided enough was enough. She couldn't bear to watch Chrissy suffer in silence any longer. In a deeply emotional live stream, she laid it all bare. This ain't about drama. This ain't about fame. This is about life and death, she said, clutching a photo of Chrissy. She's sick, and she's scared. And y'all deserve to know the truth. The reaction was immediate. Fans were shocked, heartbroken, and overwhelmingly supportive. Messages of love poured in from across the world. Fellow cast members of Love and Hip Hop, even those who had clashed with Chrissy in the past, expressed their concern and solidarity. Yandy Smith posted a simple message: praying for you, Chrissy. Stay strong. Even Kimbella, longtime rival, wrote, life is bigger than beef. Sending you love and light. But while the world was just now waking up to Chrissy's pain, behind the scenes, things were getting more complicated. Jim Jones was furious. Not at Chrissy, but at his mother. According to close sources, Jim felt betrayed that Mama Jones had revealed such personal information without Chrissy's consent. She needed time. She needed privacy, one insider said. Now the whole world knows, and that's not what Chrissy wanted. The family dynamic was already fragile: years of unresolved tension, public fights, and emotional scars. This revelation cracked it wide open. But even amid the chaos, one truth stood above all: Chrissy was sick, and she needed support more than ever. Meanwhile, Chrissy remained silent. No posts. No statements. Just silence, until a single black and white Instagram story appeared. It was a picture of her hand holding Jim's. No caption. Just strength and unity. The post went viral in minutes, a powerful image that spoke louder than words. As the world processed the shocking revelation, the question on everyone's mind was simple: how bad is it? Is Chrissy going to be okay? Mama Jones gave a sobering update. She's responding to treatment. She's fighting hard. But it ain't easy. Some days are worse than others, she said. She's a warrior, but even warriors get tired. There are whispers that Chrissy is considering telling her story in full, maybe in a documentary, maybe in an exclusive interview. But for now, the focus is on healing. And Mama Jones, despite their rocky past, is stepping up in ways no one expected. I'm gonna be there for her. We fought enough. Now it's time to fight for her. And so, the narrative of Chrissy Lampkin, once filled with glitz, glam, and reality TV fire, has taken a new turn. It's no longer about drama and diva behavior. It's about survival, strength, and rediscovered family bonds. The battle is far from over. But one thing is certain, Chrissy isn't fighting alone anymore. The silence that followed Mama Jones' explosive revelation was deafening. Social media, the blogs, and even the mainstream press couldn't stop talking. Chrissy Lampkin Leukemia. What now? Headlines screamed while fans were still reeling. For years, Chrissy had been portrayed as the bossy, no-nonsense woman who took no disrespect and feared no confrontation. But now, she was facing a confrontation no amount of attitude could fight, a fight against her own body, and worse, a battle against time. Inside their home, tension rose like smoke after fire. Jim Jones had just watched his mother go public with Chrissy's most painful truth, without permission. Chrissy had trusted Mama Jones in a rare moment of vulnerability, and now that trust felt shattered. According to insiders close to the family, Chrissy felt completely exposed, blindsided, and betrayed. One source said she never wanted pity. That's her biggest fear, people looking at her like a victim. Jim didn't know what to do. On one hand, he was furious with his mother for going public without Chrissy's consent. On the other hand, part of him understood, Mama Jones did it out of concern, maybe even love. But the damage was done. And in the middle of it all was Chrissy, trying to hold on, trying to survive not just the chemotherapy and hospital visits, but now the tidal wave of attention crashing into her quiet suffering. Behind the scenes, things were unraveling fast. Chrissy reportedly refused to see Mama Jones after the reveal. "You don't get to decide when the world finds out I'm dying," she allegedly said through a closed door. That sentence alone broke Jim's heart. Dying. The word echoed in his mind. For the first time, it hit him, he could lose her. After all the fights, all the breakups, all the makeups, this could be the end of their story. And he wasn't ready for that. Not by a long shot. Despite everything, Jim tried to stay strong. He began showing up at the hospital with flowers, pillows, music, anything to lift Chrissy's spirits. He even posted an old video of them dancing in their kitchen, captioned, "I got you forever." Fans flooded the comments with love. But behind the scenes, Chrissy was still in pain, not just physically, but emotionally. She felt stripped bare. Doctors had warned her this would be a hard journey. The treatment wasn't just grueling, it was relentless. The nausea, the fevers, the hair loss, the fatigue that clung to her like a shadow. At times, she couldn't even recognize herself. In the mirror, she cried for an hour the first time she saw her bald head, said a nurse who's been working closely with Chrissy. She said, "Who am I now? I'm not the woman Jim fell in love with." But what she didn't know was that Jim had never been more in love with her. Seeing her fight, day after day, hour after hour, made him realize how deep their bond truly ran. Their relationship had always been chaotic, a mix of passion, pride, and painful public spats. But now, all the noise has faded. What remained was raw, real love. The kind that doesn't need cameras or confessionals. Meanwhile, Mama Jones was dealing with her own backlash. The public was split. Some praised her for her honesty and courage, calling her a truth teller and a real one for breaking the silence. But others weren't so kind. "You clout chased on your daughter-in-law's sickness," one comment read. "You crossed a line," another wrote. The guilt hit her harder than she expected. Even though she stood by what she said, she now realized that her timing, her method, might have been wrong. In a quiet, tearful moment, she recorded a voice memo meant only for Chrissy. "I'm sorry, baby," she said. "I just didn't want you to fight alone. I know we've had our issues, but I see you now. I see your pain. And I'm here. No more drama. Just love." She sent it through Jim, hoping it would reach Chrissy's heart. Whether Chrissy listened or not, no one knows. But something changed. After that message, slowly, carefully, the icy wall between them began to thaw. Jim encouraged a private meeting between the two women, no cameras, no noise, no pressure. Just a moment to breathe, to forgive, or at least to try. They met in the hospital room on a Thursday. The air was thick with unsaid words. Mama Jones stood near the door, her eyes wet, her mouth trembling. Chrissy sat up slowly, pale and exhausted, but her gaze steady. They didn't scream. They didn't fight. They just looked at each other, two women who'd been through war with each other, now brought together by something neither could control. "I thought you hated me," Chrissy whispered. "I did, sometimes," Mama Jones replied honestly. "But hate ain't stronger than what I feel now. I see you fighting, and I see strength. Real strength. And I ain't letting you go through this alone." That was the moment things began to shift. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale. But it was real. And in the reality TV world they both came from, that kind of reality is rare. Outside that hospital room, life kept moving. But for Chrissy, the world had slowed down. Every breath, every heartbeat, every smile mattered more now. She began documenting her journey, not for the public yet, but for herself. Videos of her during chemo. Journal entries about her darkest moments. And sometimes, footage of Jim holding her hand through it all. It was a different kind of love story, not the flashy kind, not the dramatic proposal or club fights. This was the kind of love built in hospital rooms and whispered prayers. Rumors started swirling that VH1 might be planning a Love and Hip Hop, The Healing Chapter, a special episode or even a mini-series focusing on Chrissy's fight and how it brought the family back together. But insiders say Chrissy's not ready. "This isn't for ratings," one close friend said. "This is her life. And right now, she's just trying to live it." But fans are hopeful. I hope that one day, she'll share her story. Hopeful that the fierce woman they've watched for years will rise again. And most of all, hopeful that her healing isn't just physical, but emotional, spiritual, and complete, because sometimes, pain uncovers truth. Sometimes, sickness brings people closer than love ever could. And sometimes, the biggest battles don't happen on reality TV. They happen behind closed doors, in hospital beds, with shaky hands and tear-stained cheeks, and Chrissy Lampkin, for all her flaws, fire, and fierceness, is fighting that battle like a queen. Weeks turned into months. The public frenzy began to settle, but Chrissy Lampkin's world had completely changed. No longer defined by red carpets or reunion show drama, her days now revolved around medical appointments, blood tests, and chemotherapy sessions. The outside world saw occasional glimpses, a quiet photo here, a cryptic caption there, but behind the scenes, Chrissy was locked in the most intense battle of her life. And she was determined to win. Jim Jones became her anchor. The same man who once struggled with emotional expression, who often seemed more comfortable in the studio than in heartfelt conversations, had transformed. He was there at every chemo session, holding her hand, rubbing her back during the waves of nausea, bringing her brother when she couldn't keep anything down. "She doesn't need a hero," he told one close friend. "She just needs someone who ain't gonna leave." It wasn't just his words, it was his presence. Day in and day out, Jim showed up. No cameras. No interviews. Just him and her, back to the basics, back to the beginning. It was a reminder of what their love was built on, not drama, not flash, but loyalty. But even love couldn't shield them from the brutal reality of cancer. There were days Chrissy couldn't speak. Days her body refused to move. At night she cried until her eyes swelled shut, not from fear of dying, but from the overwhelming pressure of trying to stay strong for everyone else. "I hate that. People call me brave," she whispered to Jim one night. "I'm not brave. I'm scared every damn day." Jim just held her tighter. "Bravery ain't about not being scared," he said softly. "It's about fighting anyway." Mama Jones, too, had changed. The woman once known for her loud opinions and explosive clashes had become quiet, reflective, and deeply involved. She began visiting Chrissy every Sunday without fail, bringing homemade soups, humming old gospel tunes, sometimes just sitting silently beside her. They didn't talk about the past. They didn't argue. They just healed. One day, Chrissy looked over and whispered, "You really here for me?" Mama Jones blinked back tears. "I ain't going nowhere. Not this time." It was a moment years in the making. Two women who had once been locked in emotional warfare, now finding peace in the very place they never expected it, sickness. Ironically, leukemia had done what therapy, family dinners, and reality TV reunions never could. It had reunited them, but even as healing began inside those hospital walls, the outside world was beginning to ask bigger questions. Would Chrissy ever return to television? Would she tell her story? And most importantly, how was her health now? An official statement finally came from Chrissy's team, not flashy, not dramatic, just honest. Chrissy Lampkin has been undergoing treatment for leukemia in private. She is currently responding positively to chemotherapy and thanks everyone for their love, prayers, and support. At this time, she asks for continued privacy as she focuses on recovery and healing. The internet erupted in support. Fans posted tribute videos, celebrity friends lit candles, and even longtime critics sent their prayers. One fan tweeted, "I used to call Chrissy extra, now I call her extraordinary." Another wrote, "No storyline could match the strength she's showing now." VH1 reportedly reached out multiple times, offering a platform for Chrissy to share her journey. A documentary. A limited series. Even a sit-down with Mona Scott-Young. But Chrissy declined each offer. For now, she wasn't interested in performing her pain. She was living through it, and that was enough, but something surprising happened. Chrissy began documenting her own story, privately. With her phone camera, in whispered journal-style videos, she recorded her thoughts, her fears, her milestones. The first time her white blood cell count improved. The first time her hair began to grow back. The night she danced slowly with Jim in their living room, wrapped in a blanket, swaying to old Anita Baker. These clips were raw, unfiltered, and powerful. "I used to think being strong meant being loud," Chrissy said in one. "Now I know. Strength is in silence, in stillness, in surrender." Eventually, a plan began to take shape. With Jim's encouragement and Mama Joan's full support, Chrissy decided to compile these moments into a personal film, not a commercial project, not a ratings grab, but a legacy piece. Something real. Something for those who are fighting. In silence, just like she did the working title? Still Standing.it wouldn't be about fame. It would be about survival. As spring approached, signs of light began to return. Chrissy's labs showed gradual improvement. Her energy began to come back. She could walk without help. She could laugh again. The scars were still there, physically and emotionally, but they told a story. A story of resilience. Of rebirth. 1. Bright morning, Chrissy posted a photo, her first public selfie since the diagnosis. Bald head shining, no makeup, just her in a hoodie with one powerful caption, "I'm not who I was, but I'm still here." And that's enough. The internet exploded with love. Thousands of comments, messages of support, admiration, prayers. She had become something she never intended, a symbol of hope. Of quiet power. Jim shared the photo too, adding his own words, "I've always loved you. But now, I respect you in ways I never knew were possible. My queen. My warrior. Mama." Jones commented a string of hearts and a single line, "Told y'all she was a fighter." That night, the three of them, Chrissy, Jim, and Mama Jones, shared a meal together. No cameras. No stylists. Just family. They laughed, told stories, and for the first time in a long time, talked about the future. Not in vague dreams or what ifs, but in real plans. Chrissy said she wanted to start a foundation, something for women of color battling leukemia. "We don't get the same attention," she said. "We don't get the same care. I want to change that." Jim offered to produce benefit concerts. Mama Jones said she'd volunteer at hospitals. What once felt like a fractured family was now moving as one, each piece scarred, but connected by a deeper bond than ever before. The story of Chrissy Lampkin had always been one of fire, of strength, of storms. But now, it was also a story of healing, of choosing to live when it would be easier to give up, of making peace with enemies and turning pain into purpose. As Chrissy looked out the window that night, watching the city lights flicker below, she took a deep breath. Not just any breath, a grateful one. One she had fought for. The war wasn't over. But she had already won something far greater than headlines or applause. She had won herself back. If Chrissy Lampkin's story touched your heart, don't just scroll away, stand with her. In a world where pain is often hidden and healing is done in silence, your support means everything. Drop a heart in the comments to show Chrissy you're rooting for her. Share this video to remind others that behind every headline is a human fighting for their life. And if you or someone you love is battling leukemia or any silent illness, know this: you are not alone. Your strength is seen. Your pain is valid. And your journey matters. Subscribe for more powerful stories like this one, and hit the bell so you never miss when truth breaks through the noise. Because healing isn't just about medicine, it's about community, love, and knowing that someone, somewhere, is listening. Chrissy is still standing. And so are you. #StandWithChrissy. #StillStanding.